Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Dead Unicorn Tabletop Role Playing Game Club. My name is Corey. Is that's the edge of my computer there? I apologize. We're gonna. How
Uh-oh.
do I? Oh my goodness! I gotta adjust my camera here. No, 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 no. Maybe like that. Is that good? Oh my goodness! My two computers are too close together, and my camera is right between them. So we're just gonna. Hi, Tarek. I'm here with Tarek.
Hello.
And we've been doing a rewrite of Legend of the Five Rings for a long time, a very long time. But you guys seem to like it. I don't think we have any comments from the community from last week. Let's see what we got here. Nope, we got nothing, but that's okay. I haven't been like I said last week, I really haven't been updating anything because I've been taking a second job, but that job is over now, except for three days next week. But for the most part, it's over. I have to make some videos for you guys. So these next 2 months are going to be super hectic for video. So I hope you appreciate all the work I'm going to do, especially since I have to advertise for, pardon me, I have to advertise for City and Starlight. So I have to make some good viral videos that shows people that there's an adventure out there that they can support me with. Not only from Patreon. Patreon's going to be updated too. I have new Cypher stuff for that. And this, of course, is on Patreon. So if you want the full document, you go to Patreon, you sign up, you can grab it, you can download it. You can also suggest changes to this document, which is wonderful. Yeah.
Yes, you can. I'm sorry, I'm not talking. I am currently micromanaging. I'm getting hyper fixated.
He is making a graph, a list, a thing for today's episode, which will be our big weapons episode. So we're going to go through each weapon and we're going to change some things up. So we've kind of decided, I think I pulled an executive order here, and we're deciding to go with the threat system where we just get rid of damage altogether and replace the word damage with threat, and two, weapons just don't do damage. They don't do threat. They don't do, at least not in their weapon description. So what's going to happen is if you make a success, you do 2 threat, and then 2 threat for every bonus success, I believe. Let me just go back up here and double check that. Threat fatigue system, yes. When a character defends against a strike, they relieve the threat by taking fatigue. The threat level is 2 plus 2 for every bonus success. Right. TN1, on a success, the character must defend themselves. To defend, a character takes 2 fatigue points plus 2 for every bonus success minus resistances. And that's it. So basically, all weapons do 2. But we also added this little extra rule here called the melee size rule. When attacking someone with a melee weapon with a lower range, gain plus 2 threat for every difference in maximum range. This does not affect missile weapons such as thrown objects and bows. So this means if you have a polearm and if you're being attacked with a polearm and you don't have a polearm yourself, you're going to take more threat. Because the larger weapon always kind of wins in a combat. It's hard to get inside to put pressure on the other person when you have a smaller and smaller weapon. So if you're up against the guy with a sword and you have meat clobbers,
Yeah, meat clobbers.
you're going to take a lot more threat. It's going to be a lot more harrowing for you. And that's basically it. That's the rule. So, but we do need to kind of modify deadliness. We have to talk about range and how that works. We're going to talk about grips, and we're going to talk about qualities. And maybe we will change some item quality. I pretty much guarantee we'll probably change some item qualities. So let's dive right in. And of course, please, if you're in the chat, you can comment. You can chat at us, and we will chat back. Obviously, we are also on Moonbeam, so you can always find us there. If you, I think there's no ads on Moonbeam or anything like that, but we'll be here on the YouTube as well. We're not going anywhere. But I do like Moonbeam, and I want to build a community there. I think it's an interesting place.
Yeah.
By the way, there is a link in the description for, I believe there's one for Moonbeam, and there's also one for City and Starlight if you haven't signed up for the pre-release. So I'm going to start, I pushed the opening day to June 11th, so I have a good amount of time for advertising. I have about a month of advertising and then a month of the campaign itself. This is my first time I'm doing this. I'm learning as I'm going. So let's talk about swords. So a weapon is considered readied if a character is physically prepared to use it. Yep, sheathed weapons. Yep. Okay. I think I want to look up an Iijitsu technique first. So an Iijitsu activation as an attack and movement action using a one sheathed razor edge weapon, you may make a TN2. So razored edge makes something able to be quick drawed or not, which is a weird way to do that. Because we need to modify razored edge, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so swords. Let's start out. Our first sword is a bokken. And the skill is going to be melee. Martial arts melee. Sorry, I'm saying melee. It should be melee. I'm an idiot that doesn't know how to pronounce things. Melee. And the range on a bokken is 1.
I got this. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'll fill in the blanks for you.
The deadliness, it says, is 3. Now, this is where we're going to have a little conversation. Because if we look up here, a 3 is a flesh wound. If they're not able to get any successes, they will take a flesh wound, which I guess is like a broken bone. You gain lightly wounded. But on a 1 to 2, it's a glancing blow, which absorbs. Your armor absorbs the blow. Your armor gains the damage quality if character is not wearing armor, +2 to all critical hits for the rest of the scene. So remember, every time you take a critical hit, you get +2 to your next critical hit. The deadliness increases by 2 every time you take a critical hit, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So here's something that's interesting. Here on a bokken, you do +2 damage, but on a katana, you do +2 deadliness. Why does a bokken do +2 damage? Does it suddenly get more
threatening? Because it's blunt.
That's how I would just do +2 deadliness in 2 hands. I think that makes sense to me for all katana type weapons, because like, how does a wooden weapon become harder to defend against? You don't have an answer to that, do you?
I don't. No.
Exactly. It doesn't make any sense. It's just for game balance purposes.
Yep.
So qualities.
Just for whatever silly purpose.
Qualities should be mundane. Is a boken durable?
Depends on the quality of the actual device. Some are fairly like rigid and made of wood that doesn't like give as well, and
there
so
are
it can
those
crack and
there are those
break.
bamboo practice swords, but I think they got a different name, like a
Yeah, those are called
shinai.
shinai.
Yeah, but a boken is just a big solid piece of like just dense wood.
Yeah, fully stone.
I would say that those are durable. Wouldn't you?
Okay. I mean, I'd like to say that they're durable, but I know that there are certain boken that like it depends on the manufacturer, right? Like sometimes they're just like not good and
like if the
cheaply
grain
made.
if the grain is a certain way and you hit it on something, it'll split right like that into the wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, you can take away durable then. I get that. I understand that now. Yeah, that weird split that you can get if they're not manufactured in the right direction.
Yeah, I'd say you could add durable to the thing, but I wouldn't say necessarily that they are always all durable.
If they're a higher quality boken,
then they could be durable.
Okay.
Because it depends on the type of wood you use, right? Like certain wood is just going to be not as great at absorbing the hits, and certain wood is going to be like really good for that. So it just depends.
Sure. And in the description, we should write that boken are of varying quality and should, yeah.
Looks like I'm gonna need more space here. I don't know what to do here.
Oh no.
Yeah. I'll fix it later. It's fine. It'll look a little hideous for now, but trust me, I'll try to make it better later.
So it says rarity 3. And
yeah, because they're pretty common.
Every item has a rarity which affects how difficult it is for a samurai to acquire the item through requisition, as well as price, which is the going market for such an item to be purchased. So where is that?
Where it talks about actual rarity?
Yeah.
Rarity.
They can purchase for the item as listed price, attempt to get the merchant to give it to the item, seeking restitution for their lord, or other ways to get the item. A commerce water check. The GM should feel free to adjust the TN of any check to acquire any particular item not common to a region. Impoverished town, small fishing village. Yeah. How does rarity change that? It doesn't. Through requisition. Oh, requisitioning items. Okay. Generally speaking, when a character's lord gives them a task, the lord equips the character appropriately. Yep. Okay. A courtesy check. At the GM's discretion, a character might have to make a check with different skills. Okay. The TN of the check is equal to the rarity of the item minus the character's glory to a minimum of 1. If the character succeeds, their lord sees to getting the item for them. This process might take some time. Okay. So, basically, a boken at rarity 3 means...
every starting character could get it.
Yeah. Because, I mean, people start with like a glory of 4 or 5. If you start with glory under 5, you are falling into the infamous territory.
Exactly.
If you go above 5, you're going into the famous territory. Yep. So is 3 sounds good to me. Chikuto. What is this? Chokto? Chokto.
Ukto.
Ancient design predates the advent of the katana, hung from a belt rather than tucked into a sash. 3 feet long, single straight-edged blade. Instead of the gentle curve in newer Rokugani swords. Many clans' most powerful Nimurane have this shape, as do blades used by the Yobanjin. A single-edged... A Chokto is roughly 3 feet long and has a straight, single-edged blade. Cool. Let's find a picture of it online.
I think they're like just those old Japanese swords, and then a Dao is definitely a Chinese sword.
Ah, I see pictures of them. That's neat. Okay, those are cool. I looked up some pictures, and they're kind of cool. They're kind of like a ninjato.
Yeah, they're just like a shorter, less curved katana.
Cool, cool, cool.
So a Dao is a Chinese weapon.
Yeah, they're
like
the
a Chinese straight sword.
Those are the weapons that like Zuko uses when he's the blue ghost in Avatar.
Yeah, and interesting enough, they made them have no quality to them.
So here's the thing. A Chukto is deadliness 5. And if we look up here at our deadliness, that means at most it can give you a debilitating gash.
Yes.
Don't you think that should be better?
Probably.
Yeah. So, mind you, we're going to give everything a +2 for every... But I think it should really be starting at a permanent injury. If you're hit by it, I think it could, like, kind of put you out. Like, gone.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Most swords, I think, most deadly weapons should be doing at least a debilitating injury, I would think.
Well, this
You
one,
wanna put it as
a debilitating injury is what it does right now, but only at the very lowest end. Like a 5 is the lower end of debilitating gash, which gives you severely wounded in a ring. So I would give it a +2. I'd put it at 7, which gives it the bottom rung of a permanent injury.
Okay, 7.
Mind you, you got to remember that in duels, you're getting like, for a final stroke, you're getting +10, which puts that at instant death.
Like instant death, agonizing death.
But yeah, I'm fine with that actually.
Yeah.
Personally, I think there should be rules in are there rules to like pull your hit in a duel so you don't do full deadliness? I don't know. Okay.
I imagine there has to be something about it.
It's ceremonial and raise your dead, which means you can use Iijitsu strikes with a Chokuto.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the ancestral weapons were these, so it makes sense.
So a Dao, what's interesting, a Chokuto can attack at range 0.
Mm-hmm.
So a Dao is also like this. Does it do less damage than... Because, like, this is while a Chikuto... A Chokto?
Chokto?
Yeah.
Chokuto?
Can do stabbing damage, right? And stabbing damage is like, ooh, my goodness. Yeah, it's for stabbing. It's a stabbing weapon. A Dao can't stab. It is like a saber. It has to, like, you have to do a saw
A
motion.
Dao is a straight blade. It is designed to stab and thrust. Yeah,
Hold
it's
on.
designed to thrust and slice.
Dow.
They're
Dow
very sharp,
weapon.
great swords that are very like floppy.
I mean, it can stab. Yeah, it's got that little stabby end at the end there.
Hmm.
But like the edge weapon is made to like slice. I think it's mainly a slicing weapon. I mean, chat, I don't know. Back me up here. Personally, I don't know why it's not razored edge.
I have no idea either. They're designed to be very sharp.
The only reason I could see it not being razored edge is for game balance reasons and uh and because Iijitsu uses razored edged, and these swords are not for quick draw Iijitsu, right? They're too broad, they're too big to be quick drawed.
Hmm. Well, they're like Chinese longswords, yeah.
So I have a question here. Instead of
I guess
using
it depends on the type of Dao you're using, but if we're just generalizing a regular Dao, maybe like the Taiji Dao, um, would make sense.
this is how I would see this. This is how I would see this. I think razored edged and quick draw should be
Terms.
two different terms. Like make a quality called quick draw that is supposed to be used with Iijitsu,
Yeah.
right?
Or just give them the term EI. Like make the term EI.
Yeah.
And a sword has EI if it's meant or capable of being drawn, fast drawn.
In an Iijitsu
Right.
duel, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's give the Chokdo that quality, and then we'll give the Dao razored edge.
Yeah. Okay. So give the Chokdo EI and the Dao Razor Edge.
So does the Dao do the same deadliness as a Chokuto?
It does 5, yeah.
So let's raise that to 7 too.
Okay.
Okay, what is a Gao?
The next one I don't know about. I don't know what a Gao is.
It says Tiger Hook Swords, or
Oh, they're the hook
Heaven
swords.
and Earth Moon Swords. Yeah, I know.
I know exactly what these are. I never knew they were called. They're hook swords. I didn't know they were called Gao, but they are hook swords. Yeah.
I did a image search and it's just giving me airplanes.
Nice. If you put in Gao sword, it comes up with images. You can see they're the things
Nope,
that
it's
that
giving
guy
me,
used
it's giving
in
me Dao swords. Okay, let's do hook swords. Go.
GAO sword is what I put in, and it shows me a bunch of Gao.
There they are.
They're basically the
Boom.
swords that they used in that one Mortal Kombat character used.
Yeah. These are cool. I really like these.
Yeah.
Let's see.
They are very difficult to wield.
So here's the thing. Gao's range is 1. That makes no sense. They have literal punching parts so they can defend and attack at range 0. Right?
Yes, and so I know for a fact that hook swords are designed to be used in a multitude of different ways that I don't think that maybe they didn't consider. One of the things is that you're supposed to take the swords and hook the tops together and strike out so that moon blade can hit at extra range. That's part of the technique of using these hook swords. And also,
hold that thought.
To defend and attack, they're supposed to be dual wielded.
Yes, hold that thought. First, Orgiz says jet swords. Yes, Daos are the blue spirit, and Gao are jet swords. They definitely are. Okay, I've seen videos of people trying to use the hook swords to extend their range in just the way you said, and it is a non-viable technique. So
I mean, there were techniques to use it that way and manuals to use it that way in the past. So regardless, I think the fantasy element is
That's what I
that's
was going to
you're
say.
trying to do.
There is a
Yeah.
fantasy element that is involved here. And I would say that there should be a technique that uses Gao swords in that exact way. That,
Yeah.
increases the range to 2.
Mm-hmm.
But those little punching parts, you can freaking use them at range 0.
Yeah, I'd say 0 to 1.
0 to 1. 100%.
But I'd also say at range 0, you might not be able to use the sneering aspect of it, but you could totally use the punch dagger.
Maybe. I don't know. You can hook things inside that moon part of the blade. Maybe. I don't know.
It's more deflective.
So
but yeah.
Here's the thing here's the trade-off we're going to talk about for this. If snaring can't be used at range 0, that complicates the game a little. So do we want that complication, or do we just want it do we want to make it simple whereas you can just snare? Or do we get micromanagey with it and say, well, only at this range can you snare? I don't mind.
No.
I don't mind saying snaring range 1 only. And I would really like to make a note. So let's put a little asterisk here, and I'm gonna go on down here and write Gao. Make a technique. Dang it. Make a technique that uses the hooks to increase range to 2.
While dual wielding.
While dual wielding. I think that makes sense. I like that idea. Because like I said, I saw it was not viable in real life. But it is in the manuals and is freaking cool looking. So I think it should be part of the game. But I think only specialists should be able to use that. If you're a Gao guy. Also make Gao's razored edge because they have a freaking edge to them.
I know that they do have an edge to them, but I don't know if they are necessarily razor edged.
Those moon parts? I think so. I would make their deadliness not 3, but 5. I think almost across the board we're going to be adding +2 deadliness, except for blood weapons. We're probably going to be adding 5 deadliness to them. Okay. Gao, I love it. Jian.
A GN is more of a straight sword, Chinese straight sword.
Elegant sword that has changed very little. About the same size as a Chukdo. Typical GM has a straight double-edged blade that tapers to a point. So this is the Green Destiny?
Yes, this is the Green Destiny.
This is the Green Destiny from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Yeah. The Han Sword. This is 100% the Green Destiny. I love this sword. I think it's a freaking amazing sword. I love it so much.
Yeah, this is the straight sword. These swords are super sharp, so I would say immediately add razor edge to these.
Yes, and make it be used in Jiu-Jitsu duels. I have no problem with that either. If you can use a Chukdo in an Jiu-Jitsu duel, you can use one of these in a Jiu-Jitsu duel.
Yeah. Deadliness up to 6.
What do they do normally?
4.
4? Yeah, 6.
Because it also gets a +1 deadliness when you're two-handing
when you're
it.
two-handing it?
So that brings it up to 7
can you
total if you
two-hand
do-
these things?
I don't
Let me.
think they're supposed to be.
I don't think they're supposed to be
Because they're
either.
supposed to be one-handed swords specifically. But I
But
guess you could build one that is like
I'm
a hand and a half sword kind
I'm
of.
looking at these. They do look like hand and a half swords, actually. They definitely look
Yeah,
like hand
you
and a
could
half
potentially
swords.
hand and a half them, I
Yeah,
think.
I think so.
Which is why I guess you only get the +1 instead of the +2 deadliness
Yeah.
that a katana has.
So, katana. Yes, katana. The range is going to be 1. A GN should be range. I don't know why the Chukdo and a GN is range 0 to 1. Do you understand why? It's not like you can choke up on the blade to use it at range 0. Why are they range 0 to 1?
I don't know.
Yeah, Wargiz says the problem with Razored Edge is I think they have a very narrow idea of the weapons they want it to have. The weapons they want it to have it, yet it sounds like something every blade should have. Yeah, they wanted a very specialized group of weapons to be Razored Edge. But what we're going to do is we're going to probably change what Razored Edge does.
Yeah.
I think so.
To make it more of a profile, and then giving some of those benefits of like raising deadliness, maybe to something else. 2 deadliness. This is ceremonial. Oh.
It is ceremonial Razored Edge, and it's going to be EI.
It has a rarity of 7, like every other sword, and it has a cost of 20 goku.
20 Goku. 20
Okay, anything else that we want to change from this? I gave it the 7 deadliness, and then it gets a +2 if you're wielding it in 2 hands.
I think that's
which
fine.
makes a katana extraordinarily dangerous, but that makes sense.
I think that's fine. I'm gonna go to Chokdu, and I'm gonna bring that down to just range 1, and the Gao to not the Gao, but the GN to range 1.
No, the GN to range 1.
Yeah, because it just makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see how a katana is only range 1 and a Chokdo is range 0 to 1.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
There is, I think, a level of how do I say, let's just say bias towards Japanese weapons in this game than for Gaijin weapons, and maybe that's the difference here.
I think so too.
Like get a good Gaijin weapon is harder, so they're often weaker. Maybe not built as well because you're making them in a place where they're not, natural, or not like a.
There's a mythos we want to put around a katana rather than a Chukdo or a Dao or a Gen. We want that, like, this is a Japanese game. Use the Japanese weapons. They're superior. And I'm looking at katana compared to the others, and they seem pretty much the same except for the two-handed part. Mm-hmm. To which I'm like, do we give katana something a little? Do we give it a little spice on top? And that's the question. And I'm thinking, like, maybe EI has a number next to it that indicates, like, when quick drawing the weapon, that's the target number for it. So, like, a Chukdo and a GN is harder to EI draw than a katana. Right? So a katana might be TN1 to quick draw, whereas a Chukdo or a Gao is a Chukdo or a GN might be 2, TN2, because they're straight swords.
Yeah.
And that's when not using a technique. If you use a technique, use the technique instead.
I would say the EI quality, if we wanted to give it a number, when attempting to attack another individual, you can add that number of either bonus successes or opportunity to quick draw the weapon as part of your attack. And then if you're using an Ijutsu technique, then you don't need to make that. You just need to hit the actual value, as long as the weapon is EI-able.
I would say, okay, so we can do it in two different ways. We can say that an EI draw is a separate roll from the attack, and if you
fail, you don't get the attack off at all.
You don't get the attack off. You just draw the weapon. Or we can make EI an attack, but you have to spend like an opportunity to get it out of the sheath. And with
a number of opportunity to get it out of the sheath entirely.
Okay. So I think
I was saying it introduces like a quote unquote complication, right? Where you have to, because it's a more complex maneuver, you have to make either bonus successes to have done it, or opportunity to have done it, so that there's more options to how you can approach doing it, but you can still do it.
So it'll be EI, and then we'll put in parentheses X. So you may draw and attack in a single action by using opportunity or bonus successes equal to
the EI
X.
value.
Yeah, equal to X. If this fails, the weapon is drawn, but the attack fails. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's good. And then we can say these have EI to,
Yeah. EI as a generic action using an EI weapon. Yeah, I think that just makes sense. And then it like puts people more into EI quick draw techniques are important in the game. And I think they are important in the game.
I think a Nodachi should be more than 7 deadliness, to be honest. Or actually 8 if we're going off straight.
I mean, technically,
by these two-handed.
Technically, by these rules, a Nodachi can be used EI. That makes no sense.
Yeah, you can't EI a Nodachi. Anything that's like a
Naginata.
Claymore.
By the rules, a Naginata can be used with an Ijutsu technique.
Yeah, those are crazy.
What's going on? This is stuff I just noticed about this game. We've never come across this before, but it's technically true. This is why I think EI just makes sense for a new quality that needs to happen. Every Bushi should pick up at least one Ijutsu technique by rank 2. You know what? I disagree. I think some that use hammers and clubs like Crab, I think they're fine without using an Ijutsu technique. I think Mantis clan characters might get away without ever having an Ijutsu technique. Are they useful? Should you have them? Probably. But like if you're playing a certain kind of character, maybe you don't care. I mean, if you're a wasp, I don't think you're probably having any sword techniques.
Yeah.
You broke your katana. What were you thinking? Nodachi. Why does a Nodachi do more deadliness than a katana? I want you to answer that in a good way.
It has a much easier time cutting in the optimal cutting space than a katana does because of its advanced range and its length.
Because of its advanced
It's designed,
range.
it's a weapon designed to cut
Advanced
through
range.
horses,
Yeah, advanced range is going to
not.
get it more threat, but I don't think it'll give it more deadliness because it's the same
I think it will too
sharpness.
because the optimal area for cutting a person or like a thing on a sword, there's a very specific area of the sword that you want to
And that
target.
area gets bigger, is what you're saying.
And that area gets bigger on
Okay.
an Adachi to the point where it can cut horses in half, not just like
Well,
people. So it's like easier to make
I
damaging.
was gonna
And
say,
it doesn't get the +2 deadliness for two-handing because it's already a two-handed
it's already a
weapon.
two-handed weapon. What I was going to say about Nodachi. Oh my god, so wait a minute. So a katana wielded two-handed does more deadliness than a Nodachi.
Yes.
Interesting.
Which
I was
I
going to
think
say
the Nodachi should just have a flat higher base deadliness.
I was going to say
Um
this. Nodachi and weapons like it deserve like a new quality, like a giant killer quality. Whereas if you attack something at a size category over 2, you get +2 deadliness. Because that's what they're made to do, cut down horses.
yeah.
So cutting down horses, fighting giant oni, anything that's a really big thing, it gets +2 deadliness to. You like it?
I do, but what do we want to call that? Giant Slayer?
Giant killer, yeah, something like that. Ooh, I like the OR, giant slayer.
And then give it a value.
Yeah,
Giant Slayer
2.
2.
I like that. I like that a
And
lot.
then the Zanbakuto would do the same thing.
So we're gonna put a giant slayer, and it gives giant slayer X. When attacking a creature above
When
silhouette 2, it gains deadliness equal to X. How does that look? Does that look good?
I like it. Yeah. So giving them both Giant Slayer 2 makes sense. It boosts their deadliness against those type of enemies, which is what they're designed to do, even more deadly. And I think the heaviness of the weapon and the like characteristics of it make it slightly more deadly on average than a regular katana or a regular sword, but not by much. The other question I wanted to ask is these one-handed weapons, like a wakizashi and scimitar, they have a base deadliness of 5. Do we want to up those to by 2 as well to 7?
So here's the thing: a scimitar doesn't do pokey pokey. Scimitars
No,
are
it
not good
only
at the
does
pokey
slashy
pokey.
slashy.
So I think maybe a 6.
A 6 deadliness.
Yeah, and Wakizashi is a short sword, and it already gets +2 deadliness in 2 hands, so I think 5 is a good place for it.
Yeah, considering it's supposed to be a short sword. So it's a little harder to maneuver with, a little harder to utilize in a combat against somebody who's wielding a longer blade as well.
So now that we're kind of through swords here, I guess not, right? Let's redefine razored edged.
Okay, give me 1 second, because I have thoughts on this too, and I want to finish out what I was writing here.
Go ahead, finish out, and I'm gonna look up razored edge in the book, and we're gonna have a little conversation about it.
I want to look up Zanbot toes because I feel like they are completely anime. Because I think an Okatana and a Nodachi are basically interchangeable. And everything else about a Zanpakuto is a anime creation.
And even larger than the mighty Nodachi, swords within the reach of a spear. A Zanbato has a thick katana-like blade roughly 6 feet in length attached to a two-handed hilt. They are dedicated anti-cavalry weapons, and their name means horse-chopping sword.
Or slaying sword.
The Matsu school is famous for adopting them. Yeah.
There's a lot of so I think it's based on the Zanmado, which is the anti-cavalry Chinese weapon.
Right. So let's make a
Not
Nodachi. Since Zanbakuto is even bigger than a Nodachi, let's give a Nodachi Giant Slayer 1 and a Zanbato Giant Slayer 2.
okay. I'm good with that.
Okay. You like the downside of Razor's Edge. I do like the downside, too, that you can chip and destroy a weapon that is Razor's Edged.
Yeah, because it takes damage to the edge alignment or the profile.
So
And then it becomes less effective.
I think every broader sword should get durable. Like Scimitar and Dao should get durable because they are very broad. They have a lot of steel behind them.
Sure, Scimitar already got durable.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah. I also think that a Jian could be durable. They're thin, but they're designed to bend very easily and not snap or do something poor for the edge alignment. So I'd say that they might also be durable. What do you think?
A Jian.
The design of a Jian is like that. Remember that weapon?
Yeah, and I remember.
It's designed to bend and not break.
It is designed to bend. It is designed to bend and not break. So yeah, okay. Give Jian a durable 2. Not durable 2, but durable as well.
Yeah. I think that looks good.
But now it makes Katana look a little less. Well, Katana gets that +2 deadliness. Okay, there are some good back and forth here on what weapon is better than other weapons. Yeah, okay, I get it.
You can't I don't see a general like this weapon is the optimal choice. I see a lot of options for how you want to do your playstyle.
I do too. This is a much more robust kind of options for your character, actually.
Yeah.
But I mean, you guys out there, you tell us how you feel about this kind of weapon spread that we've done here. And let's talk about Razor's Edge. So in the game, Razor's Edge says some weapons are particularly sharp, thus brittle, and must be carefully honed to keep functioning their best. I mean, that's all swords. That's literally every sword. Swords need to be oiled. Swords need to be maintained. Swords need to be honed. All swords do that. The traditional Rokugani katana is one such weapon. Its keen edge lets it hew off limbs more easily than other swords. That just means has a better, higher deadliness.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? But is also more susceptible to damage if swung carelessly at armored foes. When you succeed at an attack action, check the damage to a target that uses Razor's Edge items. If the damage dealt is reduced to 0 before they defend, the item becomes damaged. When you make an attack action with a Razor's Edge weapon, you may spend opportunity as follows. Treat the deadliness of this weapon as 1 higher per opportunity spent this way. So I do like the fact that on all razor edge weapons you can increase the deadliness of things. That makes
Mhm.
sense for pretty much every sword, but I think it makes sense for pretty much every weapon.
Well, basically every sword has razor edge that we put out there.
Yeah, exactly. It's a property. It's simply a property of a sword. um, but yeah, the downside is if damage is threat is reduced to 0, it becomes damaged, which means the person defended against it in a way that damaged the weapon.
If they parried it perfectly, then it
The
could
thing
damage the
is,
weapon.
how does that work in our new system, right? So,
Well, considering damage is 2 plus 2 for every bonus success, it's very easy to get your sword damaged.
well, armor's at 1 to 4, right? Heavy armor, I think the heaviest armor has an armor rating of 5. So it is a thing that can happen.
Like, yeah,
So
very easily, especially early on.
what I would like to do is say if damage or deadliness, either one, is reduced to 0, there is a consequence of the weapon taking damage,
Gaining the damage condition.
gaining the damage condition. Yeah. So basically, you have to in your role, you have to either keep a opportunity or a bonus success to go. It's not damaged. It's not damaged.
Yeah.
I like that. Also, I think that opportunity. So, opportunity. The character may spend up to raise deadliness by 1. I think that's perfectly fine. So how does that work for NPCs though? So
The other question is, doesn't this effectively do this as well? You spend an opportunity to increase the deadliness by 1, then you're less likely to suffer the damage condition.
you're less likely, yeah. But it's a trade-off. Like, here's the thing: if my deadliness does 5 and a person does 7, it's spend 1 deadliness to keep your weapon from being getting damaged, not for. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
NPC: the character may take strife.
Yeah.
Up to their firing to increase deadliness. How does that sound?
Pretty good. You just keep leaving the second D off of deadliness.
You know what?
Deadliest.
Maybe that D doesn't deserve to be there. You ever think about that?
Yeah, maybe it is just deadliness.
It's an implied D.
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys who have an implied D. It's not really there. It's just implied.
But it's implied. There's an implication that there might be a D there.
Okay, we're coming up on 2:00. Are we happy with where we are? We still need to do like the snaring
quality. Yeah. We still have a couple more qualities to go through.
And of course the weapons. But I mean, we're doing this for 1 hour a week, every week.
Yeah, and
it's gonna be a slow thing.
I can fill in the rest of the weapons on the table over the next week and make sure that they have a baseline there, and then we can go over them on the next call.
What a
To
sweet,
like wrap them up.
what a sweet man you are.
Yeah, it's not that hard to just finish out the table, and then maybe I'll leave some notes on what I think might need to be adjusted. But yeah, I think that is a good spot to leave it at.
All right. Well, you tell us what you think
Yeah.
in the comments and in the chat and all the ways. We will always look at your comments and take them to heart. We always try and what's it called? Respond to comments. That's what we want to say. We want to respond to your comments. Okay. So, from myself, my name is Corey, and Tarek, we want you to go roll some dice.